Hi students, and welcome again to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope all of you are having an awesome weekend so far. Students, in this class we are looking at an IELTS reading passage for the academic IELTS, but certainly this reading passage could be in your general IELTS for section 3. The topic of this reading passage is the London Underground, the subway system, the metro system, one of the first in the world. Welcome, Amit. Hi, Henry. Hi, Bright. Nice to see you in the class. Hi, Iba. Lewis, good to see you again. Ariadna, always a pleasure. Nimerjot, Segareta, nice to have you. Single and Savvy, it's fantastic that you joined our group of members. Lovely to have you. Everybody, this passage, these materials, they are taken from aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. We have lots of reading passages, lots of videos for the reading strategies, an interactive course, and lots more. You have apps that link to these websites as well. Academic IELTS Help will link to aehelp.com. General IELTS Help will link to gieltshelp.com. Using these websites for an hour or two each day will definitely help you to improve your English, your thinking, and your scores for your IELTS exam. There's a good chance that you will not need to sit the IELTS exam a second or a third time, which is very expensive. So spend $30, $40. Join now. It's a one-time payment. You get lifetime access. Click that big red button that's just above my head there. We're an IDP affiliate, a British Council partner, and an IELTS test registration center. We help thousands of students every single month. And yes, it's a promotion, but it's really for helping you to be better. Free materials are good, everybody, but it's not as effective as learning through a structured course. And it makes these classes way more valuable as well, these live classes, because you can review these materials like the London Underground that we're going to look at today. This is the title of today's reading passage. We will read the passage. We will answer the questions. I will teach you some strategies for those questions. All right, Domenico, I'm having a nice cup of tea today, this morning. Thank you for asking, and love back at you, Adlai from Uttarakhand in India. All right, students, Instagram, IELTS_AE Help and GIELTS Help. Instagram, I'm posting all the time some useful videos, vocabulary, and much more. Email adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com if you have questions. Okay, so reading right now. Tomorrow we have speaking, part 2, part 3, and then we have speaking for premium students on Sunday through Zoom. Students, I send out Zoom links every week. If you're a premium student, you should get those Zoom links. And in fact, I just sent the Zoom links to all the premium students in the last 10 minutes, so you should be receiving them within the next 10 to 20 minutes. You should have them before the end of this class. Okay. Yes, Deborah, the task 2 I just did is a past question. Okay, Deborah, make sure you're double opting in. Do a search for AE Help Mail and make sure that you subscribe to our newsletters. That way you'll get them. Otherwise, send me an email. Okay, I talked about that in yesterday's class. Okay, everybody. So IELTS reading strategies. First of all, read the title. So here we have this title, The London Underground. You should read that and start thinking about it. What is it? Look at the picture. You're in London. You are riding the subway train. Maybe you're this guy. Maybe you're this guy. Maybe you're this woman in the background there. Maybe you're this guy. You're at Waterloo Station. You're late for a job interview. Let's go, let's go. Thankfully, it's the London Underground, a very efficient railway system that moves under the ground. Hey, maybe you're this guy here in the window. The What is that called, by the way? So the person who drives the train, please don't call him a train driver. He's not the train driver. That's not the right word. What is he called? Some fun vocabulary. So you want to visualize and picture you're one of these people. Make yourself interested so you remember what you read. Read the title plus visualize so that you can understand and remember the text. Yeah, that's my first tip. Chaudhry says it's the local pilot. Single and Savvy says it's the captain. El Capitan. Both of those are okay. They're not the best way. Trains have a special name for that position. Engine driver's okay. None of those are perfectly accurate. Not the coacher. It's called the conductor. Okay. They conduct the train. It's called the conductor. Okay. So again, write down useful vocabulary that you learn in this class, okay? So it's called the conductor, the train conductor, or the subway conductor. Okay. Single and Savvy, exactly like for an orchestra. The orchestra has a conductor. The train has a conductor. Okay, keep that in mind, everybody. Yes. The musical conductor and train conductor. It's the same. All right. Let's keep going. Nimarjot, the conductor should not be the person collecting the bus fee. That's a misuse of that. Oh, Alexander says, Google, the conductor is a person who collects the fares. Yeah, I believe also, Alexander, can you check for me? But I'm pretty sure the conductor is also the guy driving the train as the conductor. It's both positions. And I think it might be because the same person did both jobs a long time ago. You can check into that. Okay. So I believe you're right on that, Alexander. And I believe it's both positions. So check into that. Louis says, I guess it's a job on the subway. All right. Check into it, students. Google it. But I'm pretty sure it's both of those positions as the conductor. And I think it's because it used to be the same person. But what you can do is you can let's see, you can
Google it.
There we go. All right. Ariadna, I think, just said yes. They usually do two, and one is a conductor. All right. We're learning together. Let's do this. So now we're at least interested in the reading passage. All right. So there we go. That's one of the most important steps, by the way, to do well in these reading passages is become interested. Become interested. If you're not excited, if you're not interested about what you're reading, it's hard to remember what you're reading. Okay? All right, students, let's do this. So first of all, let's look at the questions. That's the second step. Here we have yes, no, not given. So the yes, no, not given, don't read them before the passage. They're useless. Okay? You don't know what's given. You don't know what's not. Don't waste your time. And then we look at the next questions. The growth of the London Underground. This is a paragraph completion question. This is good to read. So let's read this together. The growth of the London Underground. It's actually a summary completion. The first line of the Underground was constructed in 1863, and over the next something decades, additional lines would increase the breadth of the system by reach. By the start of World War I, the central part of London was completely covered. Through the mid-20th century, the focus was on making the system available to those living in the something of the city. Before 1933, there were many governing bodies. These were something companies with their own contracts and land. Conversely, management of the tube today is public, looked after by the transport something. All right. Next, complete each sentence with the correct ending A to F below. Write the correct letter A to F in boxes 10 to 13 on your answer sheet. Don't read the answers. They're confusing, so we'll cross those out. I won't even show them to you. We'll just read the first half that's in the passage. The tube map is something. The map is useful because it allows a person to something. Beck's key insight was London's core is. Now, this should give you an idea that there will be information about the subway map. So something about the map for the subway. Okay. All right, let's keep going here. Let's listen to the passage and read the passage at the same time. So one really nice feature, everybody, in your premium IELTS course is that you have all the recordings for these readings, so you can read and listen at the same time while you're learning. So let's go to aehelp.com and we'll listen. I'm going to play the audio for you now. So this is our first reading. We'll read it twice, once together and then once again together with your peers. Okay, everybody. Here we go. Alexander says, for North America, you are right. Oh my goodness, Alexander, appreciate that. I thought I was losing my mind. I guess in North America, the train driver is called the conductor. Yeah. All right. So when you're in the IELTS section of the IELTS learning site here. So this is aehelp.com. Again, you can click that big red button to join the premium package. When you do that, you go to your My Student account. In your My Student account, you have your computer-based practice tests, your full online course. You've got IELTS exams, workbooks, lesson videos. And then here you have the audio CDs. Okay. In the audio CDs, this is your 4th exam, and this is reading passage 1. Here we go, everybody. Read together. Okay, nice and loud. It's important.
The London Underground. One of the most notable aspects of London, the Underground, or Tube, is also one of the most utilised by locals and visitors alike. Over 1.3 billion passengers use the London Underground every year. If you have ever visited the city, it is very likely that you have been told to mind the gap.
In continuous operation for over 150 years, the London Underground began as just one line run by a private corporation.
Today, the system is publicly owned and is comprised of 11 separate lines. The growth and development of the Underground has mirrored London's development as, first, an industrial powerhouse, and second, a financial and tourism centre. Great Britain was the epicentre of the Industrial Revolution in the 18th and 19th centuries. Cities like Glasgow, Birmingham and London gave birth to inventions such as the steam engine, which revolutionised transportation and travel. People began to flock to these cities for jobs, opportunity and prosperity. London was the destination of choice for many of these people. In 1800, at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, the population of London was less than 1 million people. By 1900, that number would balloon to over 6.5 million people. There were many factors which contributed to this growth, not least of which was improved sanitation. But one factor in particular allowed for the mobility of those people across the ever-expanding city: the construction and development of the London Underground. The first line was constructed in 1863. Over the next 50 years, many more lines would be added, resulting in the virtual blanketing of central London by the start of the First World War. Through the interwar period and mid-20th century, the focus for the subway developers was extending the network to the suburbs of London, where an increasing number of Londoners were now residing. Interestingly, it wasn't until 1933 that the developers of the network unified into a single governing body. Until that time, there were a host of private companies competing for contracts, land, and customers. Today, the London Underground is owned and operated by the London Transport Authority, Transport for London. Perhaps the most recognisable symbol of the London Underground is the tube map, designed in 1931 by Underground employee Harry Beck. With its many colourful lines and intricate details, the tube map is not only useful, but aesthetically pleasing as well. Indeed, a print copy of the tube map is a popular souvenir for tourists to put on their walls back home. That it is artful is, however, only part of its appeal. The tube map is incredibly useful. Just a moment spent looking at the map can help you determine how to get from any point in London to any other point. Beck was able to accomplish this by realizing that the map did not need to exactly match the reality of the tube geography. For instance, a line may go through all sorts of turns through its route, yet on the map it is represented as a straight line. This simplification worried the Underground management in 1931, but soon enough the tube map became a sensation, both for its usefulness and its elegant design. Today, the tube is used more than ever, and London continues to grow. With the centre of London becoming a financial hub over the past 50 years, more and more jobs have been created in the English capital. While this has in some sense hollowed out the core of London, it has also highlighted the need for more lines to service the ever-increasing number of London's suburbs. Additionally, tourism to London has never been higher. Well over 30 million people visited the city in 2015, each of whom undoubtedly at some point used the venerable London Underground.
All right.
Why do some people have red hair? Red hair is an exceeding...
That's the audio for the next reading passage, and you can get all of those reading passages and audios again on the website in your premium package, as well as the exams, the transcripts, and much, much more. aehelp.com, gieltshelp.com. Make sure to join there. I'll put the link in the chat there. Oh, Carolina's faster than me. Carolina, you're so awesome. So, yes, you can click the link that Carolina has just put in the chat if you want the academic IELTS. For the general IELTS, it's GIELTS help.com. Carolina, maybe you can put that in the chat for us too. Thank you in advance. All right, students, let's practice this together. So, I'm going to... activate our Zoom session. Again, premium students, I sent you the Zoom links during the break, so you're golden. Be ready. Sunday, premium Zoom speaking. All right, let's do it. Here we go. Zoom class, Zoom link. This is the Zoom link. We're going to get you to do reading and answering questions. Students, go to Zoom, and I'll just start it up. And then we'll use both YouTube and Zoom together for some real fun. you get to be able to read and volunteer. I'm starting it up now. So with this link, this is the link. I just put it into the chat. Just use that. And it should be good. Here we go. All right. The way to volunteer, everybody, we've already got a few people in. The way to volunteer is by raising your hand. Reactions, raise hand. Okay, I will see a little hand go up. Lower hand. Reactions, raise hand. Lower hand. Then you can read. You can work on questions with me. Let's see who's in the class. Let's admit everybody. We've got 8 people coming in. Nice. Anahita, Alexander, Neymar, Abdul, Alvi. Fantastic. Who would like to be my first volunteer to read? I will take multiple volunteers, some to read, some to answer questions, maybe some to do both. Okay. All right, let me let more people in. I'll let everybody in as I see them coming into the class, so just wait. If I don't let you in right away, it's all good. All right. Olawunmi had their hand up first, I believe. Olawunmi, Alexander, I got you on my radar as well. Hi, Olawunmi.
Hi, Adrian.
How are you?
I'm good.
Great. I'm also good. That was very, very assuring the way you said it. You're like, I'm good. I'm good. Olawunmi, ever been on a subway?
Yes, I have.
All right. So you can picture this, right? You can imagine this. Where did you ride the subway?
In London, in Paris, and in Stockholm.
Wow. So you've been on a few different old and famous subway systems. All 3 of those have been around for a while: Stockholm, Paris, and of course London. So you know the exact subway we're talking about, right?
Yes, I do.
Have you seen this tube map that the passage is talking about?
I can picture it. I think I have.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you can use the expression, this is in my wheelhouse. Do you know this expression? This is in my wheel. This is it. Just repeat after me. This is in my wheelhouse.
This is in my wheelhouse.
Yeah. It means this is familiar. I know this.
Okay.
It's an expression. This is in my wheelhouse. Okay. Olawunmi, let's do a bit of reading then. Let's do this. Let me just bring up the passage. You'll see it on the screen. So go ahead and read the title and then start reading paragraph 1 as soon as you see it, please. And I'll scroll up. I'll scroll up. Yeah, I'll scroll up. Just read the title first.
The London Underground.
Good. Now I'll scroll up. You can start reading in a moment. And at this time, you want to visualize. Okay, go for it.
One of the most notable aspects of London, the Underground, or Tube, is also one of the most utilized by locals and visitors alike. Over 1.3 billion passengers use the London Underground every year. If you have ever visited the city, it is very likely that you have been told to mind the gap. In continuous operation for over 150 years, the London Underground began as just one line run by a private corporation. Today, the system is publicly owned and is comprised of 11 separate lines. The growth and development of the Underground has mirrored London's development as, first, an industrial powerhouse, and second, the financial and tourism center.
Awesome. Olawunmi, that's great reading. So your reading speed is perfectly enough to read the passage comfortably and read the questions and answer the questions. So you should be reading, and if you need to, skim for some of the answers, but definitely don't just skim for answers, okay?
Okay.
Olawunmi, introduction. Why is the London Underground important?
Well, for transportation, And I think this paragraph is actually giving us, like the background history of how the underground has been over the decades,
Over the centuries,
centuries, yeah.
right? Because
Okay,
150 years, yeah. And what's the thesis? Can you read the thesis statement in the introduction one more time?
One of the most notable aspects of London, the underground or tube, is also one of the most utilized by locals and visitors alike.
That is the hook. That would be the hook of the introduction. So that's the hook statement. What's the thesis statement? The thesis, I'll give you a hint, is usually the last sentence.
The growth and development of the underground has mirrored London's development as first, an industrial powerhouse, and second, the financial and tourism center.
Good. Everybody, listen up. That's a very important sentence to recognize in your reading passages, because that tells you basically what your passage is about and how the author is structuring the passage. So it's very likely that this passage will discuss the growth and development of the underground as well as London, and then discuss a bit about London as an industrial powerhouse and London as a financial and tourism center that's connected or related to the tube. And indeed it does, as we just read previously, right? So pay very careful attention to that, okay, Olawunmi?
Yes.
Always extra attention to the thesis statement. Olawunmi, thank you for starting the reading.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, bye Olawunmi. All right, everybody, give Olawunmi a thumbs up. That was fantastic. Alexander, please chime in. Hi, Lewis. Yes, I see you. You look a little bit tired, Lewis, but I'm glad that you're sharing your camera. Okay. Joylene, I don't think that's your camera. That's your picture, but you're looking good. All right. You're not moving. Lewis is moving. All right. Alexander, are you there?
Yes, sir. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. I appreciate you vindicating me on the conductor vocabulary. I did think there for a second I was losing my mind. I know that the conductor checks tickets, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure we call the driver the conductor, and I guess it's a British American English difference, it seems, right?
It's funny, but in Russia, Soviet Union, we had a conductor who really checked the tickets and they took money for. I
think I should do the research on this, but my inference, Alexander, would be that the reason it's both in North America, because a conductor conducts. To conduct means to lead. It actually means to organize, but also to lead. And like an orchestra conductor, exactly. And I have this weird feeling that in the olden days, when the trains weren't moving so quickly, when they were running on coal, then oftentimes the conductor was the same guy on a small train. It would be the same guy packing the coal, driving the train, and checking the ticket. So when they're kind of on a straight line or a straight stretch across America, he would just go through the train and check everybody's ticket. I mean, the train would, stay on the tracks, right? So I think that's why. That's my
nowadays
that's my
in Russia we have so-called minibuses where a driver takes money.
Right. Yeah. So it's all changing as technology changes, right? Eventually, when these buses and trains become all self-driving, then probably they'll change again the names of people working on these vehicles. Anyhow, interesting. It's good to be interested. Alexander, let's do a bit of reading. You should see it on the screen now, the next paragraph, when you're ready.
I am.
Go for it.
Great Britain was the epicenter of the Industrial Revolution in the 18th and 19th centuries. Cities like Glasgow, Birmingham, and London gave birth to inventions like as the steam engine, which revolutionized transportation and travel. People began to flock to these cities for jobs, opportunity, and prosperity. London was the destination of choice for many of these people. In 1800, at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. The population of London was less than 1 million people. By 1900, that number would balloon to over 6.5 million people. There were many factors which contributed to this growth, not least of which was improved sanitation, but one factor is particularly loud for the mobility of those people across the ever-expanding city, the construction and development of the London Underground.
Okay, nice. Can you just repeat after me, Alexander? Began to flock.
Began to flock.
Began to flock to these cities.
Began to flock to these cities.
Aside from humans, where do we really use the word flock? It's a verb. What flocks?
Is it connected to flowers or not?
You're not. You're okay. You're in the right thought. It's in nature. It's not flowers. But your thinking is it's probably in your head somewhere. You just have to dig it up. It's not flowers. Stan in the chat and Lewis is giving you a little bit of assistance, and Anahita as well. So clearly here it's an expression that the author is using to visually kind of present this information. Yeah, Iba, Afifa, it's the dictionary definition. It's birds, Alexander, birds, flock. Have you heard of the word flock of birds? Flock of birds?
Not yet.
Okay, so a flock of birds is basically like, you have a school of fish, pack of wolves, flock of birds.
Okay. Like tribe of birds flying.
Yes, that would be the opposite of what the author's doing. So tribe of humans, flock of birds. Yes, school of. Just repeat after me. Flock of birds.
Flock of birds.
School of fish.
School of fish.
Pack of wolves.
Pack of wolves.
Pride of lions.
Bride of lions.
Pride of
Lions.
Lions.
Yes,
Okay.
pride.
And with birds, it's extra special because we actually use it as a verb, not just as an adjective or descriptor. We use it as a verb. So the birds are flocking. It means a large group of birds are flying together. So you know how birds flock? They flock from the beach to the park, from the park to another place, and they kind of all move together as a big group. So that's why the author is using that expression here, that people began to flock, because people were moving in large groups together to cities for jobs, right, during the Industrial Revolution. So it's a nice part of the language here.
Okay.
All right. Alexander, how much bigger did London get during the 19th century?
It's balloon, as they mentioned here.
Mm-hmm.
A million, less than a million.
Mm-hmm.
In 6 times, more than 6 times, right?
More than 6 times. Pretty impressive indeed. All right, let's keep that in mind. Alexander, thank you so much for volunteering. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
And thank you for doing the research again on that conductor. You've saved my sanity.
Anyway, it's up to you. It's due to you. Your help.
Have a great day, Alexander.
Have a great day, Will. Thank you.
All right, let's give Alexander a big thumbs up. That was lovely. Joylene, can you unmute yourself, please? Students who are in YouTube, I shared the Zoom link earlier in the chat. Check the chat to join the Zoom. I'm going to let the other 3 people in. Romelia Nimit V, thank you for being patient. There are now 11 of us here. Louis, I can see you've got some IELTS papers in your hand. You're studying. Good for you. Okay. Joylene, are you there? Your microphone is still muted, so you need to unmute yourself. Click the little mic in Zoom, Joylene, if you're hearing me. Click the little microphone. Here, let me do it this way. Maybe now you can unmute yourself. All right, we're not hearing anything from Joylene, so maybe she's left to grab a glass of water. Let's check in with Neymar. I don't think we've heard from Neymar in a little bit. Neymar, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good evening, Neymar. How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Good. Neymar, are you ready to read?
Yes.
Let's do it. Neymar, I think you have premium access to the website,
Yes.
correct? Yes. Okay, good. So this is your 4th exam. It's a good idea to review it after class when you get the chance, okay?
Yes.
All right, for all these vocabulary as well. Okay, go ahead, Neymar. When you're ready, go ahead and read.
Okay.
It's like this from the first line was constructed. The first line was constructed in 1863. Over the next 50 years, many more lines would be added, resulting in the virtual blanketing of central London by the start of the First World War. Through the interwar period and mid-20th century, the focus for the subway developers was extending the network to the suburbs of London, where an increasing number of Londoners were now residing. Interestingly, it wasn't until 1933 that the developers of the network unified into a single governing body. Until that time, there were a host of private companies competing for contracts, land, and customers. Today, the London Underground is owned and operated by the London Transport Authority, Transport for London.
Good. All right. Another interesting expression here is the blanketing of central London. So blanketing means to cover, right? Like a blanket. Here's an interesting question. Neymar, interwar period. What years are the interwar period?
So, like, I guess between the First and the Second World War.
That's correct. And what years are those?
So, like, I don't remember from the history class.
Neymar. Very important. Anahita says 1914 to 45. No, Anahita. 1914 was the start of World War I. 1945 was the end of World War II, according to history books. The end of World War I, if I remember correctly, Neymar, was 1919 was the end. So 1919, 1919. And the start of the Second World War was 1939. So it was a 20-year period between 1919 and 1939. Yeah, Ariadna says 1918. So I'm close. But that's the interwar period. Yeah, knowing a bit of that key history is really important. Okay, so, but Neymar, don't be shy. You're not alone. A lot of people don't know the answer to questions like this, even though they should. Okay. All right. What's the main point of this paragraph, Neymar?
So, like, a kind of extension of the system to where the residents were living, like they're telling in the suburbs, and like earlier the system used to be privately owned, but like later it was owned and operated by certain transport authority.
Yeah, exactly. The Transport for London. Yeah. So it's the ownership and the development. Absolutely, Neymar. That's perfect. So you got the main idea. That's what's most important. When you're practicing, Neymar, especially if you're doing it with a partner, like you're doing it with me now, it's really good to ask some questions to get some details, to build understanding, build vocabulary. Okay. So really engage the texts beyond just the questions that you find in there. Okay.
Yes.
Neymar, thank you so much for reading, and maybe brush up a little bit of that on that 20th century history, I should say, conflicts and such. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right, Neymar, thank you for volunteering. All right, everybody, big thumbs up for Neymar. She deserves it. Very hardworking individual. Okay, I'm going to circle back to Joylene, give her a second chance. Joylene, are you there? Can you hear me? Can you unmute yourself? I'll give you a second chance. I'm a strong believer in second chances. In the meantime, everybody, I'll put the link for the Zoom class into the chat again. Students, if you like these kinds of Zoom interactions and you want more of them, sign up for the premium version of the course by clicking the big red button at aehelp.com. Joylene, can I hear? Is that you?
Yes, I'm here.
You are here. I had faith all along. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you, Adrian. How are you?
I am doing superb, Joylene. Thank you for asking. I will be celebrating my older daughter's birthday tomorrow, so we're getting ready for that here in Victoria with my family. Joylene, are you ready to read a little bit?
Yes.
Okay, then in just a couple of seconds, you will see the next paragraph on your screen in YouTube, starting with perhaps the most recognizable. Go ahead and read that for us, please.
Thank you. Perhaps the most recognizable symbol of the London Underground is the tube map, designed in 1931 by Underground employee Harry Peck. With its many colorful lines and intricate details, the tube map is not only useful, but aesthetically pleasing as well. Indeed, a print copy of the tube map is a popular souvenir for tourists to put on their walls back home. That is artful is, however, only part of its appeal. The tube map is incredibly useful. Just a moment spent looking at the map can help you determine how to get from any point in London to any other point. Peck was able to accomplish this by realizing that the map did not need to exactly match the reality of the tube geography. For instance, a line may go through all sorts of turns through its route, yet on the map it's represented as a straight line. This simplification worried the underground management in 1931, but soon enough the tube map became a sensation, both for its usefulness and its elegant design.
Very nice. That's very nice reading. So again, students, keep in mind that you don't need to read faster than Joylene is reading right now. If you can read that fast, and if you can read that fast aloud, I'm sure you can read that fast in your head. When you're reading inside of your head, Joylene, in the real IELTS exam, just make sure to stay calm, really read clearly in your head. Stop at the periods, stop at the commas, so don't rush. One of the big problems, everybody, is when candidates read quietly inside their heads, they don't read like Joylene was reading right now. They read like this. They go, let's go back to the beginning. So they read like this. They go, one of the most notable aspects of London, the Underground or Tube, is also one of the most utilized by locals and visitors alike. Over 1.3 billion passengers use the London Underground every year. If you have ever visited the city, it's very likely that you have been told to mind the gap in continuous operation for over 100. So a lot of people read like this, and it's just a big ball of words. Doesn't make a lot of sense. That's not good. It's not good to read like that. When you're reading in your head silently, you still need to pause at the commas, at the periods, intonate, visualize. Okay, Joylene, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, it's a big mistake when students rush. They think they don't have enough time, so they just read really fast, and it's just one long, continuous string of words. That's a big mistake. It's very hard to understand information that way. Okay, so read the same way in your head as you read aloud. That's a very important tip. All right, Joylene, what are 2 reasons that the tube map is loved by people in London and tourists as well? What are the 2 reasons that tourists and Londoners love the tube map designed by Harry Beck? There are 2 clear reasons for this.
It was pleasing, and
It's
It was appealing.
appealing. Yep. So it's pretty. It's beautiful. It looks nice, right? It's like, ooh, colorful, pretty. Yep. So it's pretty. That's one reason. It looks nice, and it's
Where the PEC was able to accomplish by realizing the map.
keep your thoughts simple. It's effective. It's easy to use.
Yeah.
It's useful. It's effective. So it's pretty and it's effective. Okay, you have to be able to kind of pick out these main points from these paragraphs. It's very important. So if you didn't get that, you should read it again and make sure that those are very, very clear. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I think that was your first time to volunteer, right, Jolene?
Yes, this was my first time.
Good for you. You have to be brave
Thank
to
you for the
volunteer.
opportunity.
Thank you for being brave and for volunteering, Jolene. Have an awesome rest of your day.
Thank you, you too.
Okay, bye for now, Jolene. Come back again, okay?
Okay.
Okay, bye,
I'll
Jolene.
keep us-
Awesome. Bye, Jolene. All right, let's give her a big thumbs up. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. Okay. Let's check in with Starboy. Starboy, are you there?
Hello?
How are you, Starboy?
Yeah, I'm Starboy.
And how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. What about you?
You know, I really thought you were going to say I'm feeling over the moon. Just because your name's Starboy, right? Starboy, over the moon, Starboy. Oh, that's a joke, right?
It's in a blue mood.
I always tell students, don't use idioms that are overused in the IELTS. Over the moon is one of those. Over the moon, way too many people try to use that idiom in the IELTS exam. But when you have a name like Starboy, I think you get an advantage. You get a privilege to use that idiom, over the moon, because you're into stellar things. All right. Where are you calling from, Starboy?
I'm from India.
From India. All right. What part?
It's basically down the region of South.
In this
South India.
southern, like Goa?
No. It's near Kerala, Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
Down south.
All right. Is it nice and warm there?
Yeah, it's always warm here. No winter.
Okay. Let's do this. So you should see the conclusion now on the screen. Go ahead and read that for us.
Yeah, is that start from today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Today, the tube is used more than ever, and London continues to grow. The center of London becoming a financial hub over the past 50 years. More and more jobs have been created in the English capital. While this has, in some sense, hollowed out the core of London, it has also highlighted the need for more lines to service the ever-increasing number of London suburbs. Additionally, tourism to London has never been higher. Well over 300 million people visited the city in 2015. Each of them who undoubtedly, at some point, used the venerable London Underground.
Okay. 30 million. Careful, not 300. 30
Oh, sorry.
million. Do you know what venerable means? Venerable London Underground?
No, I really don't know.
I don't either. I'll be honest with you. I think it means something like famous, the famous London Underground, the famous, and without, do I have to know it to get a band 9? Probably not. Probably not.
Okay.
All right. But if I'm studying, I would look that word up. I would look up what it means. Maybe somebody can do that for us, and they can Google it and check it out and let us know what that means. But venerable, I would say like famous historically, something like that. All right, so the conclusion wraps up the passage and tells us that the subway is very important to this day. Lewis says it means respectable. Thank you, Lewis, for sharing that. So it means respectable. London Underground. Okay. All right. Let's do some yes, no, not given. So yes, no, not given means it's a fact according to the passage, or it's not a fact, or a false fact according to the passage, or it's not given. We don't know if it's a fact or if it's not a fact. Let's try this. We're going to do this yes, no, not given together. Okay? Ready? Starboy, you still with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, let's do it. You and me we're gonna do this together. So the goal here, everybody, is yes, no, not given, true, false, not given. Same idea. True, false, not given means it's the opinion of the author, so it's more subjective, the information. Yes, no, not given means that it's the facts, right? So here, London Underground, we have facts: when it was built, who owns it. These are facts rather than opinions. So that's why it's yes, no, not given instead of true, false, not given. Make sure that for paper-based exam candidates, you use the correct words. Yes, no, not given, not true, false, not given. All right, Starboy, read number 1 for us.
Over 1 million passengers use the tube each year.
All right. Past tense, present tense, or future tense? Number 1.
It's past tense.
Over, careful. Read it again.
Over 1 million passengers use the tube each year. It may be the present tense.
Present tense, yeah. Used would be past tense, or will use would be the future, right? This is present tense, so it means generally speaking, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it true? So first of all, is it important? Do we need to know how many people use the London Underground? So is it important? We need to figure out if it's given or not given. So to figure out if it's given or not given, we need to ask ourselves, is it important to know this? Is it important, Starboy, to know how many people ride the London Underground?
Yeah, I think it's quite important while reading a passage.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, it's very important. And does the passage tell us how many people ride, or how many passengers ride the tube each year?
No.
Well, if it's important, it probably does, right? Okay, let's take a look. That would probably be in the beginning somewhere. Read the second sentence of the introduction. You're going to see it there in a second. Over
1.3 billion passengers use the London Underground every year.
Okay. So, over 1 million passengers use the tube each year? Yes or no?
Yes.
Absolutely, right? 1.3 billion is a lot more than 1 million, so definitely yes. You can put Y as well in the paper-based exam, but it's a yes. All right, so that's how we do this, everybody. Okay, you look at the statement, you think about whether it's important or not. If it's important, it's probably given, especially if it's very important like this one. And then you just need to figure out if it's true or if it's false. Yes or no. All right, read number 2.
The tube is privately owned.
Past, present, or future?
Past, present.
What is it? Is it past or present or future? Tense.
It's past.
Okay, so Starboy, make sure that you pay really careful attention to this. Otherwise, you're going to lose marks throughout your IELTS exam, both in the listening and in the... you can actually lose marks in all sections if you're not paying attention to this and catching these, okay? This is not past tense. Look at the be verb. The tube is privately owned, right? Past tense would be was. Okay, so this is definitely not past tense. This is present tense. Okay. All right, very important. It's very important in this case. All right, so the tube is privately owned. Present tense, currently, now. Is it important for us to know who owns the subway system in London?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's quite an important piece of information. According to the passage, is it currently owned privately or not? Or owned publicly?
I really don't know about this. I joined after that passage, I think so.
Fair enough. Some of your classmates might be able to help here. The tube is... If you had to, let me do it. So you said you joined late, right? And you didn't see this. And sometimes that's fine. And you know what? One of the big mistakes students make is they just skim for every question. And then they complain they don't have enough time. Of course you don't. You don't have enough time to skim read for every question. There's no way. Even as a native speaker who teaches IELTS, it's almost impossible for me to try to skim read for every question in a 20-minute time limit. Almost impossible. It takes way too long, even for somebody who's super fast. So you have to use good logic, okay? And logic can really help you. So Starboy, if you had to guess if the London Underground, the subway system in London, is owned privately or publicly, what would you guess? Is it owned privately or is it owned publicly?
I would guess it's public.
Yeah, I think that's a very good guess. So then the answer here should be... no, right? The tube is privately owned? No. It's publicly owned,
yeah.
Right? So again, and I mean, you know, if you're in India taking the IELTS exam and you have this passage, it still makes sense. If you think about it, I would guess. So I'm in Canada. I haven't been to India yet. I would love to go one day. But if I were reading a passage about the public transportation system in New Delhi, and I had this question, the let's say the bus system. The bus system in New Delhi is privately owned. I would probably guess no. I would probably guess that it's public ownership. Is that correct? Is it owned public, or is it just one company or one person that owns it?
No, it's owned public.
Publicly, right? Most big public, or most big transportation, that's why we call it public transport. Most transportation systems these days are public, most of them for sure, big ones. Okay, so again, even if you didn't read the passage, even if you don't remember every word, sometimes just using good deductive reasoning, good logic will get you 90 or even 100% to the answer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so trust your logic, trust your thinking. Okay, let's do one more. Number 3. Are you ready? Can you read that one for us?
Steam engine was invented in London.
Okay. Is it important for the passage to know where the steam engine was invented?
I think if it has been mentioned in the passage above, it could be important.
It could be, yeah. So that's an important word there, everybody. That Starboy is using is could be. It could be important. Okay, so sometimes you have that, right? And I get this question from students like, Adrian, what if I don't know? What if I'm like, well, maybe it's important, maybe it's not. I don't know if it's important. So when you have that thought of like, well, maybe it's important, that's when you can search. You can search for vocabulary. That's where you want to take an extra minute and do a little bit of skim reading. What would you skim read for here, Starboy? So with this number 3, what would you skim read for? What would you scan for? You could skim read for the word London, right? Because that's a name. That's a name. Names are pretty easy to find. Or you could skim read for what else? If you're not finding it with London, so you're looking, it's London, London, London. You don't find anything for London, right? So what else could you look for? Anahita says you could look for the other exact noun or subjective noun is steam engine. Right, of course, steam engine. You could search for that. So you go, okay, I'll look for steam engine because that's the subject. And then you go, okay, let's look for that steam engine, and boom, you find it. There it is, steam engine. Cool. Okay, so always read the part before and the part after. Go ahead and read the part before. As soon as when you see it, you should see it. So I would read from cities like Glasgow.
Yeah, cities like Glasgow, Birmingham, and London gave birth to innovations such as steam engine, which is revolutionized transportation and travel.
Okay. Read one more. People began.
The same passage?
Yeah, people began to flock. Just the
people
net.
began to flock to these cities for jobs, opportunities, and prosperity.
Yeah, you always, when you're searching like this, you always want to read a little bit before and a little bit after, just to make sure you're not missing potentially the answer. Sometimes the answer comes a little bit before, a little bit after where you find the word. So, okay, you found the word here. Okay, so let's check the question again. It says, the steam engine was invented in London. So according to what you just read, was the steam engine invented in London?
Yeah,
Are you sure? Would you
but
bet?
it also has a couple of cities over there.
So where was it invented?
Glasgow and Birmingham, London gave birth to.
Inventions such as the steam engine. So where was it invented then? Do we know? Eba says in all 3 cities. Do we know? We don't know, right? We don't know. We can't. We would just be guessing at this point, right? I'd have to Google it because maybe it will say, "Oh, it was this guy in Glasgow," or maybe it wouldn't be in any of these 3 cities. Maybe it would be another city in England, right?
Yeah.
All right. So technically speaking, I know this one seems really tricky, but technically speaking, it's not given. If the passage does not clearly state the steam engine was invented in London, then this would be, it's a tricky one, but it's not given. It doesn't specifically tell us where it was invented. I know some of you are like, that's not fair. It's critical thinking. IELTS is also a thinking exam. It's testing your thinking. It's only given if it very clearly states that. If you end up with the answer, I don't know, okay, so if your end answer is I don't know, then it's not given. Okay, can you keep that in mind, all right? Starboy, you got that? So if you finish with, if you end thinking, I don't know, then the answer is not given. Okay, then we don't know. Because it's not, the reason you don't know is because it's not given. Okay, so yes, Lewis says in the IELTS, uncertainty equals not given. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Starboy. You had some tough questions there, but you stuck it out. You were with me. You didn't hang up the phone. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. And that was really good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
For volunteering. Bye, Starboy.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Big thumbs up for Starboy, everybody. That was challenging, but highly educational. All right, Romelia, one of our chat moderators. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Romelia, how are you?
Hello.
Haven't heard from you in a while, Romelia. What have you been doing?
Yeah, I've been busy.
You've been busy. Are you planning to take over the world, Romelia? Is that what's kept you busy? Plans for global domination?
And I'm planning to take my IELTS. As well.
Step number 1, right?
You have to bite the bullet and book it, and just book it. Yeah.
Steps to world domination. Step number 1, take IELTS exam, prove English ability, communicate to the world. Yes, I agree, Romelia. Okay, jokes aside, let's do this. So I'm going to leave the last couple of questions for everybody to do at home for these true, false, not given. We'll go to the summary completion, the growth of the London Underground. Let's do that one together. So here, what we're doing is we're reading, filling in the blanks, and then checking to make sure that it's correct if we need to. So, Romelia, when you're ready, go ahead and read from the title here.
Yeah, but I can't see that. I think I have a delay because I
6 seconds.
I follow the I follow the number 4, yeah? London grew by a factor of...
Nope, number 6. We're going to the growth of the London Underground. You'll see it in just a sec.
The growth of the London Underground. The first line of the Underground was constructed in 1863, and over the next... here definitely should be a number, but...
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
So something decades, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so Yeah, so here you need to check, right? And this was somewhere in the beginning, in the development. So what number would you look for to find the other number? You would look for 1863, right? That's a pretty clear number. Names and numbers, everybody. Names and numbers are easy to scan for. So if you're scanning, you're looking for 1863. You find it here, the first line.
I don't know, by 19th, something like this.
It's on the screen. I found it for you. I'm here to help. Okay, but in the real test, of course, everybody, you're looking for that 1863, and you'll find it nice and fast. Our eyes are really good at finding numbers. Okay, go ahead and read that first two sentences. The first line was constructed.
Yeah. In 19... yeah.
The first line
over the next, so 5 decades. 5 decades.
Okay, whoa. Slow it down, Romelia. Slow it down. Slow it down. Everybody, don't rush in the real test too. Take your time, right? So go step by step. The first line was constructed in 1863. Over the next 50 years, many more lines would be added, resulting in the virtual blanketing of central London. Okay, good. So the answer is 50 years. 50 years is 5 decades. So the correct answer there is 5 decades, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So don't rush. Now in the IELTS, they will take a number or the word. So I would just use the number to keep it simple and not make a mistake, although nobody should make a mistake spelling the word 5. All right, let's keep going. So the first line of the underground was constructed in 1863, and over the next 5 decades, additional lines would increase the breadth of the system's reach. Keep going from there, Romelia, by the start of World War I.
From through the interwar period?
You'll see the questions again. I think your internet's acting a little bit slower than usual.
A little bit of delay.
Yeah.
Okay. Additional line would increase the breadth of the system's reach. By the start, the central part of London was completely covered. Okay, through the mid-20th century, the focus was on making the system available to those living in the probably in the center, but
no. And this one you should not search for. So students, again, you shouldn't be searching for every answer.
No. I just
so the central part of London would be the first place to put the subway, right? So through the mid-20th century, the focus was on making the system available to those living in the something of the city.
Yeah. Edge. Maybe suburb.
Okay, but we don't call it the edge. We call it the suburb, right? It's not the edge of the city, although not a bad guess. It could be. It's the suburbs. Suburbs.
Suburbs,
okay?
yeah.
You should not be searching for that word. That was very clearly emphasized in the passage, so you should be getting that from your thinking, from your memory. Okay, keep going. Before 1933.
Okay, before 1933, there were many governing bodies. These were
something companies,
probably big companies. Big companies. I'm looking for an adjective because
wait, it's slow. Romelia, you're rushing. I'm kind of the one fear that I have when you're taking your IELTS exam, Romelia, is that you're going to do what you're doing now is rush through the answers, especially because you have a time limit, especially because in the real IELTS you have a 3-hour time limit for the sitting part and in the speaking part. Romelia, that is your enemy number one, is you're rushing.
You know, when I practice the reading, I move back and forth and skim every question, and I managed to take like 36, 37, and that's why I'm in such a rush.
I bet you could do a 40.
But maybe it's not the best strategy.
And you know what? I bet if you went a little bit slower, Romelia, and you were a little bit more kind of slow and steady wins the race, I bet you could get 39-40. I bet you could get a band 9. I know you have very good English, so I bet that without rushing, and here's the other problem, everybody, with the rushing. Even if you get a good mark, like Romelia says, I get 35, 36, 37, skimming, jumping around, sure. However, doing that for a whole hour in the reading tires your brain enormously. It's mentally draining. And you still have the writing section. It's 1 hour of writing, and your brain has to organize and structure information. If you're jumping around in the reading section for a whole hour, it becomes a lot more challenging during the writing section to put together a well-structured essay. Okay, your brain will be more tired, your brain will be more scattered. So there are multiple reasons not to do that, Romelia. So slower. These were something companies with their own contracts and land. Conversely, management of the tube today is public. So
so it's private. Yeah, it's private companies.
Exactly. See why you shouldn't rush, Romelia? See why you shouldn't rush? Okay, because maybe you'll find the same answer. You know what? Maybe in the real exam, if you were rushing and you were skimming and scanning, you might find the same answer. However, it would probably have taken you 3 times longer and used 3 times more energy. So it's not just about getting the right answer in the IELTS. It's also about the efficiency.
I just paid attention to the link to the contrast marker. Conversely, public.
Slow and steady wins the race, everybody, in most aspects of our life. Okay, last one. Go ahead and read that. Conversely, management
of the tube today is public, looked after by the transport. Should be an authority here related to transport. I don't know. What could be?
Transport authority. Sure, they'll take that.
Yeah.
Yep. It has to be transport authority. It could be transport for London, but it should be transport authority, okay? And again, so slow and steady. So read it all. Conversely, management. So transport authority. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's the correct answer. Romelia, thank you for volunteering. It's good to hear your voice. As you're getting ready for the IELTS exam, make sure to come back more and more. We're always happy to have you moderate the class.
Of course.
And don't rush, Romelia. Don't rush. Okay, students,
of course.
Don't rush. All right. Thank you, Romelia. Have an awesome rest of the day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye, Romelia. All right, let's give Romelia a thumbs up, and you can always give our moderators like Carolina and Romelia a thank you. Nimit, like real thumb. That was a real. I love it, Nimit. He's like no thumb emoji in this house. We do real thumbs. Right. That's great, Nimit. You know what? Do you want to chime in? Do you want to help me with these last few questions? Okay. Here, I'll ask you to unmute if you can. How are you, Nimit?
I'm doing great.
All right. We haven't talked in a while.
Thank you for letting me in.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, because actually I was pretty much engaged in my daily routine and I was not able to catch up with the time. And I think it's more than 2 weeks.
It has been. It has been a while. Yeah. One other way you can express that, Nimit, is I have been caught up in the daily grind. I have been caught up in the daily grind. Yep. Just repeat that after me. Repetitions for everybody. I have been caught up in the daily grind. Nimit, I think you're muted. You muted yourself. Unmute yourself. Unmute, Nimit, unmute.
Actually, no, I am basically I'm operating from my mobile, so that's the reason while I'm switching the apps, that is getting mute or unmute.
Okay, got you.
Yes.
Got you. All right, let's try a couple of these last questions, Nimit, with this London Underground. Now, the trick with these questions where you have to complete, it's kind of like a multiple choice. You've got 4 questions and you've got 6 or 8 choices. The trick, like with every multiple choice, right, Nimit, is to use your brain first. The number one mistake in multiple choice exams that a lot of test takers make is they don't use their brain first. They use the answers first. And then they're like, it's super confusing. Of course, because you use the answers before you use your brain, right?
Yeah, true.
So you always want to use your brain first. For one very simple reason. You can figure out whether you either know the answer, kind of know the answer, or you have no idea about the answer, right? So when you try to think about the answer yourself, you realize like, oh yeah, I remember that answer from the passage or from my textbook or whatever when you're doing that. Or you go, I kind of remember that answer. Or you go, oh, I have no idea. I totally don't know the answer to that question, right? So at least you figure that much out when you try to think about it yourself first, right?
Yeah, true.
But if you look at the answers right away, then you never know. Because when you look at the answers, I don't know about you, Nimit, but if I'm in a multiple choice and I'm looking at the answers first, then even if I didn't really know the answer, I start to think that I did. I'm like, oh yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I knew the answer to that one. I'm pretty sure it's that one, right? And you kind of make yourself believe, like as if you knew the answer, but the truth is you had no idea, right? So.
Yes, correct. Can I take one moment to share my thoughts?
Sure.
Yeah. So I think during the last 15 minutes, when you are, giving your tips and strategies to the peers, and I was pretty much, observant and pretty much present in that moment. And I was also doing some self-analysis that IELTS is not only just about, English efficiency or how good English you know, but it's all about the present of mind and the critical thinking and the logic that you apply. And I think one of the greatest positives that I see in you, and I try to make up or copy you in that sense, is you remember the passage or the stanza very clearly. So during the question, you are just right on the stanza, and then you ask the students to go through that particular para, so that I think that is a very positive point that I've noticed in you.
Absolutely. I mean, Nimit,
And I
you
think
hit, yeah.
so. Being observant is very important, I think. Yes.
100%. I mean, that's our most powerful human quality, right? Is our ability to analyze, to criticize, to look from different perspectives, different angles. So we have to do that. And when we're looking at the band 8 and band 9 in the IELTS, so the very good to expert scores, or in the reading listening, the near perfect scores, these are scores that are required for graduate school. They're required for becoming doctors, lawyers, architects, and for sure the IELTS is testing these levels of society for more than just their English. They don't want somebody to be a doctor who just speaks English. They want somebody to be a doctor who critically analyzes their patient's situation. So yes, it's hidden. They don't really verbalize that so much, but it's also because that is so much a part of the education system in England and in US. So they're reflecting that education system in the test as well. So you're absolutely right, Nimit. You're absolutely right. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts. Nimit, let's look at this. So again, back to these multiple choice. With multiple choice, always think or do your best to think of the answer on your own and then find the matching answer. It minimizes mistakes. So Nimit, number 10, can you read that for us? The tube map is?
The tube map is?
Yeah. Remember it was Joy Lynn that was reading this, and I asked her what are the 2 points about the tube map that people like. So that would be the first answer that would come to my mind. The tube map is this and this. The tube map is? Were you here for that part of the reading? Oh, I think you're muted again.
Yes, I was pretty much present. No. I was pretty much present in the entire reading section.
Yep.
The tube map is useful. Useful, I think it is useful.
Yeah. And?
Or
yes.
Is useful and attractive.
Yeah. That's it. Nimit, don't second guess yourself. That was it. Because the tube map is attractive and useful, right? So that's what I would think of first, and then that's what I would look for in the choices. So here are the choices. So now I'm looking for that. Now I'm actively looking for useful and attractive. Okay. So let's see. The tube map is to see how to get anywhere in London. That's kind of weird. Full of jobs in the financial sector. Definitely no. Being hollowed out. Definitely no. Colorful and intricate. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yes.
Popular souvenir for tourists. That looks pretty good too. That the map did not. That doesn't look good. So D and E look good. Colorful and intricate. Popular souvenir for tourists. Which one would you choose out of D and E? So here's where IELTS gets really tricky. It's the best answer that we're looking for.
I think I would go for D, colorful and intricate.
So the tube map is colorful and intricate. I would go with D as well. Why not E?
Why not E? Yeah, it's again a good question. Why not E? I think this resonates more to the idea of tube, that why the tube was accepted and why it was applauded by the people,
It's simpler than that,
because it
Nimit.
was attractive. Yeah.
It's simpler than that. You did get the right answer, but it's simpler than that. When you're in the IELTS, always read the first half and the second half together. And one of the rules for the correct answer, it has to be grammatically correct. Exactly. Lewis has got the answer there. Lewis says if you look at it, it's grammatically incorrect. The tube map is popular souvenirs for tourists. That mismatch in the plural makes it grammatically incorrect, and that's why it's not the right answer. The sentence ending has to be grammatically correct. So when you've got it down to two choices where you're like, oh, two choices seem correct, and both of those seem really correct, one of them will be wrong because of the grammar. Okay? So
Yeah.
it's a tricky one, but that's the way you look at it. All right? Let's do one more, Nimit. Number 11.
Actually, I'm just switching between the apps, so it's taking a bit time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So number 11 is the map is useful because it allows a person. The map is useful because it allows a person. Allows a person.
To do what? You're a tourist in London. You have the map. It's useful because it allows you to.
Because it allows a person to navigate or
Yeah.
simplify the
Perfect.
route.
Yeah. Perfect. That's it, Nimit. That's exactly it. That was Nimit. You had the same word in your head that I had in my head. So the map is useful because it allows a person to effectively navigate anywhere in London.
Yeah.
So that's what I would finish it with. I would see it's the same thing. So it's the thinking, right? You're right. It's absolutely the thinking. The map is useful because it allows a person to navigate anywhere in London easily and quickly. That's how I would finish that. Okay, so which answer matches that one? A, B, C, D, E, or F?
See. It's A.
Absolutely. Yeah. To see how to get anywhere in London. It's the same thing, right? To navigate anywhere in London. Same sentence. And it's grammatically accurate. Perfect match. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll leave number 12 and 13 for everybody else to do at home to have fun with that. Nimit, thank you for volunteering. That was awesome.
Thank you, Adrian, once again.
And thank you for sharing. I appreciate your input. By the way, students, if you ever have a thought that you want to share, like Nimit was sharing his thoughts on the test and on what we're doing, absolutely, I encourage you to do that. That's very important in effective learning. So Nimit, thank you so much. Thank you for your thoughts. Have a fantastic day.
Same to you, Adrian. Thank you.
Bye, Nimit. All right, give Nimit a thumbs up. He was fantastic. Okay, students, I'm going to end the Zoom session, but if you enjoyed that Zoom session, the way to get that kind of Zoom class even more is to become a premium user on our websites. By the way, students, I sent the premium Zoom links just before this class. So join us at aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com for premium classes. The academic looks like this with the blue background. Click the big red button there. Join the premium version of the course. General IELTS, green background. Click that one to join that. Single and Savvy, fire away. Let me know your question. I can fit one more question in as we wrap up. Tomorrow we're going to have speaking part 2 and speaking part 3. I will be posting those classes today. They will be the same as the classes right now. Single and Savvy, still waiting for that question. Thank you to all my volunteers, by the way. Thank you, Carolina, for moderating. Iba, nice interactions. Ariadna, a lot of clever answers I saw that you giving in the chat today, and that was fantastic. Single and Savvy, I'm not seeing your questions, so you can ask me next class or just send me an email, okay? Students, much love to all of you, wherever you are. Single and Savvy, do not start task 2 with a rhetorical question. Don't do it. It's not considered good writing. There's your answer. Bye for now, everybody. See you tomorrow.